Good morning, folks. I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. I will note that all board members are present with the exception of Council President Hudson and Derek Carr, who are excused. We'll move to the first item, which is the acceptance of the March 27th, 2025 minutes. Been a little while since we've been together, so nice to see everyone again. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Meeting minutes are accepted. Let's move right to our report from our secretary and turn it over to Joe. Good morning, Joe.
Yes, good morning, Mayor and board members. It's good to see everyone.
You too.
Morning.
Thank you. So just a quick update on the RFP process. As some of you know, the RFP committee met several times dealing with the independent compliance officer. And we had several responses to that RFP. And after review and consideration of the kind of weighing the different responses, the committee decided to hold off for now and reissue it at a later date for two reasons. One, based on the responses, we felt it would be in our best interest to tweak the RFP document to generate a better response, more targeted to what we're looking for.
Okay.
And then two, the city government, of course, recently adopted the OpenGov procurement platform. And our division of purchase believes that if we reissue the RFP using that technology, it'll go to a far wider field of potential vendors.
Okay.
And more competition is always a good thing.
Right. Okay. So that doesn't hold anything up on the project side.
No, we're originally we thought, based on our phase 2 experience, that we would need the ICO for the PLA negotiations. But fortunately, we now have an in-house city diversity team, Vaughn and Cheryl, who are very capable of assisting us during those negotiations. So the ICO really won't be needed till we start to get architects on board and more contracts to be monitored that would exceed the capacity of the city's diversity office. And the other benefit to holding off is we will save money by not having to pay fees for work that can be done in-house.
Right. Good.
Then we have several items today. Speaking of the PLA, probably the most significant one is bringing back Bon Shank and King, who has served as PLA counsel for both Phase 1 and Phase 2. They will utilize, again, the services of Sailor Engineering. Bond hires them because then it's under the attorney-client kind of umbrella. And they work with them to fashion a report to the board that will show the cost benefits of adopting a PLA. Then at that point, the board will make a decision on whether or not a PLA is the way to go.
And what's I wasn't around for the beginning of JSCB Phase 2, so just to manage our expectations, do we have a sense of how long that process takes when we want to have something in place?
Unfortunately, my recollection is it took about 6 months in Phase 2. However, I'm hopeful that, on the JSCB side, I don't believe we have identified any major changes that we want to see happen. So if the trade unions basically agree to continue the Phase 2 PLA, ideally that would move things along quickly.
Okay. All right.
So we'll engage them shortly after. Well, first we have to do the report.
Right.
The report should be relatively quick. Sailor Engineering did it for Phase 1 and Phase 2, so they're very familiar with our work.
Okay.
That completes my report, unless there's further questions.
Any questions for Joe?
Thank you, and I'm pleased to welcome our program manager today, Sean, for the kickoff of Phase 3 program.
Thank you. Yeah, I saw that on the agenda and in the minutes, and then was reminded that I wasn't here when it was voted on. So
Good morning.
welcome back.
Yeah, thanks. Good morning.
Got a brief update for you today. Currently, we're working on development of the comprehensive plan, and what that means is we're working on developing the financial plan, establishing building budgets, schedule, kind of align with the financial plan for time of borrowing, building scopes, identifying each building scopes, and going to put an estimated cost to that. And then we held 4 public input sessions, 1 virtually. We received some comments. Some of the comments we received were improved curb appeal at the buildings, traffic flow at arrival and dismissal, renovate toilet rooms. That was generally what we got on feedback. Moving forward, our plan is to have the comprehensive plan pulled together in August so that we can take it to the school board for approval in September, and then back to the JSCB board at the end of September, and then submission of that comprehensive plan to state. That's kind of where we sit. Questions?
In terms of the feedback received during the public meetings, how is that incorporated into the plan? So presumably that the comments about the curb appeal and toilet rooms were because they were not currently, contemplated as part of the project, or perhaps they were?
They are.
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
good.
the curb appeal could be anything from new windows
Right.
or, to enhance the curb appeal, the traffic flow. We know that there's some buildings where it's an issue in the morning at arrival and dismissal.
Yep.
So yeah, it's part of the plan. Did it answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. I just wanted to get a sense of what ability we have to actually incorporate some of the feedback into the plan.
Right. But
Understanding.
we did communicate that when we're in the design phase, when we have architects on
Yeah.
board, we're going to go back to each building, present what the current design is, and seek input at that time as well.
Okay.
So it'll probably be a little bit more granular level
Okay.
then.
I know Tom wants to say something, but before you do, Tom, just curious on the traffic side of things. Oftentimes, a traffic impact analysis or some sort of study is required to really come up with holistic solutions there. Is that within the realm of possibility for these projects?
Yeah, it's typically handled by a civil engineer or landscape architect in the design process.
Okay. All right. Tom, you want to add anything?
Yeah, Sean carried it pretty well, but when we go...
Can you come up to the mic, Tom, please?
When we pick the individual architects, we usually have one meeting right before we start the design. We take comments from the public, parents, staff, anybody else that wants to comment, and then we do the design, the schematic design. Then usually we come back again to the school and take another set of comments. We'll show them what we're looking at. So those are usually where we get more of the substantial comments. And an example would be at Nottingham in the last phase, we were going to renovate the GW wing into CTE spaces, and pretty much everyone wanted air conditioning. So instead, we postponed the CTE things and did the air conditioning through the school.
Good move. Thank you. And needless to say, especially on the traffic and transportation front, please work with Mary Robinson and engineering and our DPW team and we'll offer whatever support we can. Any other questions, Turner? Comments? Advice? Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right. Looks like we've got a few resolutions here. Joe, you want to walk us through them?
Yes, I would be glad to. So we start with resolution number 3, which would be our first payment under phase 3. It's to the program manager for the work, the startup work. There is a detailed invoice enclosed with your packet. That's not for public distribution. It's just to provide the work detail.
Thank you. Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. All right, next up.
Yes, resolution number 4 would be, as I mentioned earlier, the board's approval for the city to retain Bond, Shank and King. Law firms are retained through our office under the city charter to, it's our city contribution to the JSCB. And this would confirm that the board's willing to pay them out of bond proceeds.
Great. It looks like in addition to Bond, Shannon and King being involved in previous phases, Mr. Gall specifically has been involved here.
Yes, Mr. Gall did Phase 1 and Phase 2. He actually retired from Bond, and then they brought him back recently.
Okay.
He's working with another partner over there, Andy Brobeck, who will be the principal lead on our project, but John is there to provide guidance as needed. And they provided us with a municipal rate, which is a substantial discount from their usual standard private rate.
I know Mr. Bobrick well, and it looks like we got a good team here.
Oh, I'm glad you know him.
Yeah.
In addition, I should clarify that, as I mentioned, they will bring in Sailor Engineering under their umbrella. The cost for Sailor to do all the work is estimated at $17,000. And again, we worked with them in Phase 1 and Phase 2, so we feel confident in their abilities to deliver.
Good. All right, I'll entertain a motion. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. All right, last one, Joe.
Yes, this is kind of a technical item required by the Securities and Exchange Commission. The bond underwriter, Raymond James, is operating kind of in a dual capacity. They are going to ultimately issue our bonds, and as we asked for on the RFP, they will serve as our financial advisor to help develop the financial plan that goes to the state as part of the comprehensive plan. So the SEC rules require that the JSCB, the city, the school district, and the Syracuse Industrial Development Agency, who is going to issue the bonds, all acknowledge that we recognize there is this dual role that Raymond James is performing, municipal advisor and bond issuer. And they ask that we acknowledge that. I believe, it basically says we understand that they do these two things. There's some overlap because they ultimately issue the bonds, and we're comfortable with that. That's, again, the same process we completed in Phase 1 and Phase 2.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Any other business to come before the board? Good?
Yes,
All right. Thanks.
motion to adjourn.
Yeah, it's exciting. We're getting there.
Yeah, I think we're underway. Good point, because now that the program manager is actively working, I expect we'll meet monthly on a regular basis. Not only to pay their bills, but hopefully to get feedback on the PLA and any other matters that we need to deal with.
I'm excited for Karen to have some real meaty meetings, with substantive meetings with opportunities to weigh in.
I am so looking
You've been
forward
very
to it.
patient. Thank you. Great. Okay. Thanks all. Motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting is adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.